Muhammad Yunus is the founder of Grameen Bank. Grameen loans money for self-employment to over 4 million poor women in Bangladesh.
You cannot get a dollar without a dollar in your hand. In poor people, nobody gives the first dollar to catch the next dollar.
Dr. Yunus designed Grameen to serve people who have no collateral. 5 borrowers form a group and guarantee each other's loans. The repayment rate is greater than 98%. More than half of Grameen's members have moved their families out of poverty.
We have demonstrated beyond anybody's doubt that it works and is sustainable, and it can work in all kinds of cultural and economic situations.
Grameen Bank has become a model for hundreds of microfinance programs around the world, serving tens of millions of the world's poorest citizens. In this program, Dr. Yunus shares the experience and insights gained in his struggle to build the world's leading poor people's bank.
During the stay in the USA, the liberation war broke out in Bangladesh. Suddenly, Pakistani army started attacking civilians in East Pakistan, and East Pakistan rebelled and declared itself independent. And immediately after listening to the news on the radio, several people, Bangladeshis who lived we were 6 of us in Nashville. We gathered together and declared ourselves as citizens of new country, Bangladesh. Within minutes, we did that. I joined the movement, and I became the secretary of the group, and went to Washington to participate in the demonstration to stop the military aid to Pakistan, which aid was being used against the civilians of East Pakistan. So this became a full-time work for me. I was running around all over the United States, organizing teach-ins. At that time, this word was a very popular word in the early 70s and late 60s, teach-ins. At the end of 1971, Bangladesh became independent country, finally, on 16th of December. The next question that came to my mind, what do I do? I decided that immediately I should go back. It was very difficult country at that time because all the roads are gone, bridges are gone, so you practically start from new. Many villages were burned down by the Pakistani army. Many professors were killed by the Pakistani army. So I was looking for a teaching job, and I got the job at Chittagong University. I went there and started with the full vigor to build up the department. It's a new university, new department, and immediately I thought students should become familiar with the reality of their life, because our students are usually textbook-oriented students. This is how educational environment of Bangladesh is. So I thought, no, we should make a departure. We should let them understand what the reality around them and how reality and the theory has to work together. So since the university is located right among the villages, I asked them to get them involved in doing some survey and understanding how people live there, what kind of people there, what are their problems, and so on. So it was a very exciting thing for me because it's a discovery for me too. I never did that myself as a student. And then came 1974. In 74, we had a terrible famine in Bangladesh. And you can see the famine everywhere. You come on the streets, people are dying of hunger. And in the beginning, you see one, you see two, and so maybe this is an exception, maybe something wrong. But gradually, number keeps increasing. But nobody says it publicly, that there is a famine in the country. So I went to the vice chancellor, the head of the president of the university in the university where I teach. He was a very respected person. He's a writer. As a writer, he was a very known person in the whole of Bangladesh. I asked him to sign a statement saying that the situation in the country is bad, people are dying of hunger, and nobody is paying any attention to it. And all of us in the university, all the teachers in the university, we went around, signed all the statement and put it in the newspaper. For the first time, newspaper announced in a big way there is a famine in the country and people are dying and we need to get actions moving. And I was feeling terrible. Besides doing the statements and so on, what else can one do? It's useless to go on teaching economics the way it is, that all those beautiful theories, elegant theories, look beautiful inside, but it has nothing to do with the reality outside. But as a human being, as an individual person, I can go out and touch another human being as they live and see if I can make myself useful to another human being. So I went around seeing such opportunities whether exist to make myself useful to another person, even for a day. And I was very lucky. I saw lots of such things happening, and I could make myself relevant, make myself useful. And one thing right away came, which is the production of food. Country was not growing enough food to feed the people. And that led me to irrigation and dry season cultivation in the neighborhood of university. Why land should remain empty, fallow, while the university is sitting right next to it. If the university symbolized the wisdom, all the accumulated knowledge of the whole world, that's what the university is supposed to be. Why shouldn't that wisdom spill over to the neighbor's field? So the cultivation, and that led to the irrigation, became very successful program. Lots of food being produced in a season where no food was produced before. So I was very happy. But at the same time, I saw how poor people didn't benefit from it. So landowners, the cultivators, and they benefited from this extra rice, but not the poor. So this became one of the concerns that I couldn't address. And as I go around my daily round, I saw one woman, extremely poor, sitting in front of a little broken down hut, making bamboo stools, beautiful bamboo stools. So I said, let's go and talk to her. So we went there, and she was very shy. She ran away. And finally we got into talking, asking how much money she makes. So she told me that she makes only 2 cents a day. I couldn't believe why she makes 2 cents a day for making that. And I said, why can't you sell it to a higher price? He said, I can't sell it to anybody because I have to sell it to this person. I said, why? Because I borrowed money from him. Why did you borrow? Because I didn't have the bamboo, which goes into these bamboo stools. So in order to buy the bamboo, I need the money. So I had to borrow from the trader, and he lent me the money with the condition that I must sell my bamboo stools to him only, and he decides the price. I have no control over the price. Can you get more price if you sell it outside? Of course I can get more price if I sell outside, but I can't, because I am promise bound to sell it to him at the price that he gives me, and otherwise he will not give me the money, and I can't do anything. So I realized that by borrowing money, she has become a slave labor to that person. Next day I decided to go around and see if there are more people like her. When my list was complete, I had 42 names on that list, and the total money they borrowed was $27. And I was shocked. This I never realized that could happen anywhere. People are suffering not for millions of dollars or billions of dollars, for a few pennies. And there's nothing anybody has done to get rid of this situation. So my first feeling is, why don't I give this money to the people here to repay the money lenders so that they can become free, which is a very simple thing to do. $27, you free 42 people right away. So I did exactly that. Asked them to give me back whenever they have money to pay back. Then something happened. The excitement that created in those people hooked me on. They thought this was a kind of a miracle that happened, because they couldn't think anybody could come up and do such thing. So they looked up to me as if I have done a great thing. I said, all I did is a few dollars worth of money, that's all. Then another thought came to my mind. The thought is a very simple one. If you can make so many people so happy with such a small amount of money, why shouldn't you do more of it? One of the things that I draw attention to in connection with poverty, that poor people are victims of the system. And system is composed of institutions, policies, and concepts. So I'm talking about creating institutions which are open and which can reach out to the poor people so that they can do business with those institutions. And Grameen Bank is one example that we tried to build, where poor people are welcome. And we said we reverse the basic principle of banking. And conventional banking is based on the principle, the more you have, the more you can get. We reversed that. We said, less you have, higher priority you get. If you have nothing, you get the highest priority. Then we talk about the concepts. Where did we go wrong with the concepts? And the concept, one issue that I raised, that capitalism has been narrowly defined, narrowly interpreted. So the real interesting part of capitalism has been just abandoned or never explored, never exposed. The business, the way it has been interpreted in capitalism, is that business is an entity which is created to make money. And that's the capitalist system. I said that is wrong. Capitalism never said that you have to create an institution to make money only. You can create another kind of an institution which can do good to people. It is interested in recovering its cost so that it can continue and run. But it's not interested in maximization of profit. It can just, it could be just described as a non-loss companies. So that like you already familiar with the non-profit organization. Non-profit organizations are organizations which are basically charity organizations. So that you give away because you are not interested in making profit, but you are not interested in recovering cost either. But the non-loss companies are in very much a business proposition. It runs by itself. It recovers its own money and continues, but works to achieve some social objectives. From the conventional businesses, now there are voices saying that we would like to be more supportive of people and the society, sometimes called socially responsible businesses. These are good initiatives from people, but I'm a little bit skeptical about that, because basic ground on which you work, you can go to a certain extent. If you're bold, you can go a little bit more, but still you're tied to that basic tenet of business, maximization of profit. You may be a business leader, you want to do something, but your investors who are there, they want you to bring them more money. So you're always pulled back. The framework is laid out because that's the conceptual framework. You cannot venture out of it. All the institutions, all the assessment, evaluations, ratings are all done on the basis of this. So I appreciate and admire those who are doing that. But at the same time saying that we need a different kind of framework, reference points, so that we can do the full blast of it. And that's what the social business entrepreneurship is all about, where you are not judged by the existing measures. You create your own measuring scale. To give an example, a conventional bank can lend some money without guarantee, without collateral to few people. This is great, I'll applaud that. But that has not changed the bank. But if you come to Grameen Bank, this is what we all do with millions of people. This is our only business. We can't get away from this. This is what we have committed ourselves into. So that's the distinction I'm making. We need a very different structure, different framework, different reference points. We would be judged by our own achievements. When we created companies, they came from many different historical backgrounds. It's not something I planned some 30 years back, I'll have this company, and 2 years later this company. I had absolutely no such plan, no such even imagination that someday it will happen. Because the whole Grameen story started out with a blank piece of paper or a blank mind, Every time it was one step, and we thought that was the last step. And once we took that step, two more steps appeared. We never had any idea whether I was going to have a bank. That was not intention at all, nowhere. All I was doing is demonstrating that it can be done. But I was sucked into the process where led me to say, why don't we have our bank? Because it's not working this way. This is the only solution if you can create our own bank. But each one of those companies came along the way for solving a particular problem. Some of them didn't come at the beginning as a company. It was a project, and then it became larger and larger. Then I saw the difficulty of a bank running completely different thing, like a fisheries project, like a agricultural project, which by itself is a large entity. So I decided, why don't we give them a shape of a company? So what kind of company? Well, it's best thing to describe as a non-profit company, is a non-stock, non-profit company. But when the opportunity for telephone came, obviously we need investors, and if you say it's a non-profit company, nobody will be around. So we said it's a for-profit company, it's a big money will be waiting for you. And we got the partners and we started. So wherever it was applicable in a certain way, we took that path. If it's a non-profit, we did the non-profit. If we thought this is the way we can do it for profit, we did the for-profit. But we made it very clear, wherever we are involved, whether non-profit or for-profit, our involvement relates to benefiting to the poor people, either directly by the service, fisheries, agriculture, and so on, or if it's a mobile phone, two ways. We bring mobile phone to you, you make money, and also you own the company, a piece of the company that you are holding for you. So this is how we went ahead, and everything comes, we see the new idea of what will be the best format for that. Is it non-profit or is it for-profit? Then we went ahead.